Coming up on UCF Nightly News. UCF students are frustrated with their housing conditions.
A search is on for a missing military man.
Find out what steps you can take to stay safe during the downtown events this weekend.
And in sports, we'll preview the Knights men's basketball season.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Sarah Nagy.
And I'm Amber Pellicone. Today is Friday, November 8th, 2019.
Breaking overnight, park goers at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure say the new Hagrid's Magical Creatures ride broke down. People are sounding off on Twitter saying they were stuck on the ride for more than 30 minutes with no help from workers. Others complained saying this isn't the first time the new ride has had these problems. One rider says the procedures were unsatisfactory and the staff was blatantly disrespectful to riders that were under duress. Universal Orlando's team replied to some of the angry tweets apologizing for the situation. As of this morning, the ride still says it's delayed on the Universal mobile app.
Hundreds of downtown UCF and Valencia students live in Union West at the Creative Village dorms, but many students have come forward to voice their concerns about their living conditions. I spoke to students that expressed their frustrations with the amenities and services. Union West at Creative Village promised downtown students operational plumbing and kitchens, high-speed Wi-Fi, restaurants, working elevators, and more. And with the price of rent being up to $1,200 a month, a majority of students are saying that it's not worth it.
It's not just one kid. It's basically pretty much everyone has concerns about this building.
Students started writing lists of grievances and a petition aiming to reduce the cost of rent, listing issues like a lack of means for proper cooking, a mildew smell, non-operational mini fridges, and more. Many students have spoken up to say that what Union West is advertising in these handbooks is not what they're getting. Sophomore Ariana Capo says her biggest issue with the building is the plumbing.
We could not use a shower unless we absolutely had to. So basically it would have been 6 girls sharing one shower. And so we would have to use our other shower and that would lead to the water damage all over the floor. Union
West also promised a variety of food options on the first floor of the building. Only one of those options is now open, which makes it hard for students without a car like Jamaria Everett to eat on a daily basis.
There's no food around us for the ones that are without cars. And they just built the Dunkin' and sometimes they run out of food, so it's not worth it.
Though it seems like the list of concerns just goes on, not everyone has complaints about the building.
So you gotta think about more UCF's point of view. The building's freshly new, so it's kind of hard to open a whole new building up in 3 years span.
I reached out to Creative Village for a comment, but they have not gotten back to me. Reporting in Orlando, Amber Pellicone, UCF Nightly News.
The student-run Knights Clinic is getting an upgrade. The clinic first opened in 2013 and is run out of Grace Medical Home on Penn Avenue. The new space is 19,000 square feet and located in downtown Orlando. The Knights Clinic, which stands for Keeping Neighbors in Good Health Through Service, strikes to help those in the community who may be uninsured. The new facility will increase the number of beds by 12, totaling 22, and will have specific areas for pediatric and dental services.
Miami, Denver, Austin, and Atlanta are just a few examples of cities with motorized scooters, but soon Orlando may be joining them. This upcoming Monday, the City of Orlando commissioners will meet to consider a 1-year pilot program to bring motorized scooters to the City Beautiful. The program would let scooter companies receive a permit to provide a minimum of 200 scooters. After meeting on Monday, the commissioners will vote to move the program forward a second time in December. If passed, residents can expect to see these scooters on the streets of Orlando as early as December or January. Electric Daisy Carnival starts today. It's expected to have thousands of people attending, and a lot of those people are coming from UCF.
Nightly news reporter Paola Guzman is in the studio to tell us what steps the festival is taking this year to ensure the safety of everyone in attendance.
Thank you, Sarah and Amber. The Electric Daisy Carnival, also known as EDC, is making its way to Orlando once again. Crews have been out at Tinkerfield all week setting up for the festival. Good news for those of you who love electronic music, because this year they have added an extra day. In the past, the festival has been a 2-day experience. This year it will go for 3. In a press release, EDC says due to the high demand and popularity in the Orlando area, the festival has expanded to 3 full days of fun. Rideshare options such as Uber and Lyft will be available for pickups and drop-offs in the designated areas. There will also be road closures around the area. Refer to the map available online at orlando.electricdaisycarnival.com. Radio and television major Monique Traves says she has been going to EDC for at least 3 years and safety is always efficient.
They're really thorough. So you wait in line, you shuffle in the line, they go through your bag. Once they go through your bag, you go through an actual scanner, and then they have hand scanners where you get scanned a second time, and they will pat you down and stuff too.
Officials suggest guests take necessary items such as a valid photo ID, hydration packs, and portable chargers. The Orlando Police Department will also be present. OPD told me in a statement traffic officers will be located all around the event to assist with traffic flow and safety measures. Remember to not drive while intoxicated. Instead, opt for safety and use resources available to you. That's all I have. Back to you, ladies.
Although Hurricane Dorian hit the Bahamas more than 2 months ago, Bahamians are still recovering from the powerful storm. Tomorrow, UCF's nonprofit management students will host a Bahamas disaster relief drive. It will have a donation drop-off center to help people in the Bahamas.
And some of those items that they're looking for will include plywood, cleaning supplies, water, canned goods, blankets, first aid kits, and diapers. You can find a full list of items on their Eventbrite page. The event will take place from noon to 5 p.m. and it's located at 9307 Curry Ford Road.
UCF students showed up for this week for an amateur drag show, a closing ceremony for Pride Month. The show's director says it celebrates the queens in all their different personalities. Attendees were encouraged to throw dollar bills at the drag queens in support. 5 drag kings and 1 surprise drag king put on their best moves for the crowd. The solo drag king, Reagan Carner, says this performance shines a light on drag culture.
Yeah, it was planned to be but no, I came because I saw they were doing drag and not a lot of kings, come out. So I was like, let's go. It's an amateur, so no expectations.
The director says the show helps people learn about different lifestyles, which they say is important in today's society. UCF Engineering Associate Professor Sita Rohavan wins the 34th Aerospace Educator of the Year award. The award is given by Women in Aerospace, a leading professional organization dedicated to expanding opportunities for women in aerospace community. She was recognized for her research on creating materials and structures. These structures are meant to enable hypersonic flight, with a focus on reusability under harsh environments. She says it's an honor to be recognized.
It felt pretty nice walking into the studio this morning, Amber, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. A little humid, but let's see what Milan has with the weather. Milan?
So coming in, I was actually able to capture some of what was happening, some weather conditions that were happening around campus. Let's take a quick look at that for you guys. It was very, very gloomy. As you can see, some students were walking to and from class. Some people were wearing long sleeves, but some were wearing, their usual summer attire. And now let's look at your current conditions for you real quick. Currently, it's 82 degrees, and the humidity is at a very high 69%, with winds coming at around northwest at 13 miles per hour. And your chance of rain, well, you got a 50% shot of whether you need your umbrella. Back to Amber and Sarah at the desk.
Thanks, Milan. Coming up, a new bill proposed that could impact your marriage proposal.
We'll also have the latest on President Trump's impeachment inquiry. Find out what his counselor is saying about the new details. That's next.
Couples looking to walk down the aisle in Florida may have to do some mandatory reading if a proposed bill goes into effect. Florida Republican Senator Dennis Baxley filed the legislation this week to require engaged couples to read a Florida Guide to Healthy Marriage. The lawmaker proposed the creation of a marriage education committee whose only task would be to create the guide. The guide would be required along with the current family law handbook. It would contain information about conflict management, domestic violence, family expectations, financial responsibilities, and how to maintain a long-term marriage. If approved, it would become a law next year.
Just last night, the House Impeachment Committees announced a subpoena for the acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney. This comes hours after House Democrats released a new testimony in the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. In the transcripts, a State Department official says that the president wanted Ukraine's president to publicly say 3 words: investigations, Biden, and Clinton. That official, George Kent, claims the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, schemed with a series of what he called corrupt Ukrainians to wage a months-long campaign of lies. President Trump's counselor Kellyanne Conway shared her thoughts on the likeliness of the impeachment going through.
Ladies and gentlemen, be careful, because you cannot impeach a president and remove him from office in a constitutional democracy centered on the rule of law based on somebody saying they presumed and someone else saying they interpreted.
Conway says she is not worried about being called to testify in the impeachment inquiry. She says her plan is to stay by the President Trump's side throughout the 2020 election.
This week, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra filed a lawsuit against the social media giant Facebook. The lawsuit says Facebook did not answer subpoenas from the state. The subpoenas were asking information for a state investigation into user privacy. Becerra says over the past year, Facebook ignored requests for documents. If successful, the lawsuit will require Facebook to respond to California's Department of Justice legal request. Coming up, find out if the long-awaited fall weather will finally come out this weekend.
Plus, a dangerous virus diagnosed in local restaurants. How the diner is responding after the break.
The health department is urging people in Central Florida to get vaccinated after 2 people working at a Denny's restaurant in Kissimmee tested positive for hepatitis A. Department officials say they may have been infectious while on the job. They encourage anyone that dined at the Denny's in October to monitor for symptoms including abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. People who ate there during the last week of October are asked to get a vaccination. The restaurant says they closed right away to clean and remove food. Health inspectors examined the Denny's before they could open back up.
The search continues for a missing man in the Air Force. He was last seen Tuesday morning, and his identity is still unknown at this time. The Coast Guard search spreads from Fort Walton Beach to Pensacola across the Florida Panhandle. Officials say he fell out of his C-130 aircraft over the Gulf of Mexico while training. They say he had a parachute on that deployed, but his crew lost sight of him after he hit the water. Neighbors of the base voiced their concerns for the missing man.
My heart goes out now because I know from seeing the planes that we see that possibility, of some young person or just anyone missing it just breaks my heart.
Investigators ask anyone with information to call the Destin Coast Guard station.
You know, Amber, I'm really hoping for some cool weather this weekend. What about you?
I know I'm looking for some cool weather. Any excuse to break out my sweaters. Milan, what's the weather going to look like?
Well, guys, as right now, let's look at our highs in the state of Florida. So it's 65 in Tallahassee and just a little degree higher, 66 in Jacksonville. and Tampa, it's 79 in Orlando. The cold front hasn't hit yet, but it is a high of 80. And in Miami, it's still a very warm 85 degrees. Now let's look at our state lows. It's a nice and breezy 45 in Jacksonville, and it is 53 degrees in Tallahassee. It's 53 degrees in Jacksonville. Tampa is 64 degrees. Orlando's low is looking at 62, and Miami still 75 degrees. Now let's look at your 5-day forecast. So for Saturday, it's looking like the high is 81 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 63 and a 20% chance of rain. Sunday is 79 degrees with a low of 68 at 0% chance of rain. Monday and Tuesday are similar at 84 and 85 degrees for a high and a similar low, 70 and 71 degrees collectively, and 20 to 30% chance of rain for both days. Wednesday is 85 degrees with a low of 70%, and the chance of rain is 30%. Now back to Amber and Sarah at the desk.
Thanks, Milan. Coming up, UCF hoops are back in season. Find out how the Knights men's basketball team plans to dominate this year.
We'll also have nightly news reporter Chris Wolf in the studio. He's going to give us a rundown on the college football playoffs. That's all happening next.
Hey Knights fans, I'm Eddie Messel and this is your UCF Nightly News Sports Update. Knights hoops are officially underway and they say they are ready for a great season. The 2019-2020 men's basketball season kicks off tomorrow at the Addition Financial Arena. Yesterday, the Knights had their final practice before taking on Prairie View and are eager to begin this new season. Forward Colin Smith mentions how the team is excited to play someone other than themselves and have some new competition throughout this season.
Everybody just can't stay still. You got guys just talking in practice, not focused on just because they're ready to get going. So we can't wait for the season to start.
Basketball coach Johnny Dawkins also mentioned how the team prepared themselves for this season. He says he's ready for the players to leave their own legacy. UCF volleyball will celebrate their seniors this weekend with their 11-1 conference record. The Knights will take on the ECU Pirates tonight at the venue at 7 p.m. If they win tonight's game, that will make them 30-1 in their last 31 conference games. On Sunday, the Knights play Cincinnati at 1 p.m. to try and avenge their only conference loss. Both teams are 11-1, and if the Knights sweep this weekend, they will be in the driver's seat in the AAC East Division. The search for Florida State's new head football coach continues. Willie Taggart was dismissed on Sunday after coaching for 21 games for the Noles. He was bought out of his contract for $22 million. Rumors began to spread when discussing who would get this position. UCF head football coach Josh Heupel's name was even thrown around. But the Knights coach was quick to shut the gossip down, saying he's happy here in Orlando. FSU is currently 4-5 this season. Coach Odell Haggins will serve as the Seminoles' interim head coach in the meantime. This is the second time he holds this title, the first time being after former FSU head coach Jimbo Fisher left the program in 2017 to coach at Texas A&M. Right now, we have nightly news reporter Chris Wolf in the studio. He's here to talk all about everything college football playoff rankings. Chris, tell me, what's going on with these rankings?
I mean, these rankings just came out on Tuesday from the committee, and let's just dive into the top 4 teams. Number 1 is Ohio State. They've been the most dominant team in the country. They just came off a win against Wisconsin, dominating victory, and they deserve to be number 1. Now, number 2, got LSU. They have a big test this weekend. They're traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama Crimson Tide. We have 2 Heisman candidate quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa. Eddie, what are the keys to this game, and who will win?
Yeah, I mean, I think the keys to this game are definitely going to be if Tua is active. He's pending right now as a game-time decision. If Tua is active against LSU in this game, I think Alabama has a great chance, and I think they will take it. But if that's not the case, I think Joe Burrows and the Tigers will take this one and stay at number 2.
I agree. And the fourth team in the country right now, you would not have known. It's the Penn State Nittany Lions. It's not the defending national champion Clemson Tigers. Eddie, are you surprised that the committee actually put Penn State at 4?
I'll tell you what, Chris, I am not surprised at all. Similar to UCF's issues these last 2 years, their strength of schedule for Clemson, not great at all. The ACC is easily the worst team, or worst conference in the Power 5. So I'm not surprised that Penn State was put in that number 4 spot. Big Ten has been a powerhouse, ACC not.
And, I mean, after you look at these top 4 teams, what team do you think could be a sleeper team to actually get to the playoff that's not ranked here? Yeah,
so out of the top 4, I think biggest sleeper, you got to go Oklahoma. Oklahoma, the Sooners still look great. They still got a Heisman candidate quarterback in Jalen Hurts. He's been playing great all year. So my sleeper has got to be the Sooners.
And mine would be the Oregon Ducks right now. Justin Herbert, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Yeah,
I got to agree. The Oregon Ducks, also a fantastic team this year. Look out for them. Now that's all we got for you guys. Back to the girls at the desk.
Thanks, Eddie and Chris. That's all the time we have for right now, and thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week by following our Instagram at UCF Nightly News and by tuning into our webcast at 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday on YouTube.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynewsucf@gmail.com. And don't forget, no school on Monday. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Coming up on UCF Nightly News, Mayor Buddy Dyer has been re-elected for the 5th year in a row, and find out what he plans to change during his new term.
Also, UCF celebrates its first-generation students this week.
And President Trump has issued a November Veterans Proclamation.
In sports, UCF football is back on the road for today's game.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Jasmine Haynes.
And I'm Milan Martinez, and today is Friday, November 8th, 2019.
Tomorrow's UCF Veterans Flag Day. American flags will be planted on Memory Mall at 2:30 p.m. One flag will be planted for each UCF student veteran who is studying at UCF during the fall 2019 semester. The Veterans Academic Resource Center, Student Veterans of America, Salute Veterans National Honor Society, and the UCF Veterans History Project will be honoring these students.
This week is National Shelter Appreciation Week, and it coincides with Adopt a Senior Pet Month. Shelters around Orlando host animals that need a loving, permanent home. National Shelter Appreciation Week recognizes the shelters providing care that bridges the gap between adoption for abandoned animals and stray animals. There are about 70 million stray animals living in the U.S., and only about 6 to 8 million cats and dogs enter the nation's 3,500 shelters every year, according to the Humane Society of the United States. Volunteers like Jose Me said Pet Alliance is a non-kill shelter, and they encourage the adoption of older animals.
According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe physical violence from their intimate partner. A student organization is taking strides to raise awareness. Progressive Black men incorporated a Walk a Mile in Heels yesterday to honor women and victims of sexual assault and abuse. UCF PD Victim Services and Harbor House of Central Florida joined PBM for the walk from Student Union to Memory Mall and back. Dion Perry, the president of the organization, says the purpose of the walk is to highlight the challenges victims and survivors of domestic violence face.
Highlighted what women go through on a daily basis. It really took all of our effort, us men, to walk in hills around Memory Mall. You know, a regular 15-minute walk, it takes 15 minutes for us, but in the hills, it took 30 minutes.
Perry says the organization plans to continue to find new ways to raise awareness and various obstacles faced by men and women every day.
The Orlando Magic has filed a new master plan for a downtown entertainment district across from the Amway Center. Here's what the development is supposed to look like when it's finished. The $500 million project is expected to be completed in one phase by the end of 2022. The design includes over 100,000 square feet of retail space, a bedroom expansion on the hotel, the office building in size to 420,000 square feet. Now that the Orlando Union Rescue Mission has been relocated to a new facility, this first step of the project is to demolish the old Mission building.
UCF broke ground on McNamara Cove this past Saturday. The highly anticipated river for UCF athletics began construction on November 2nd, and once completed, it will also consist of 2 pools, 2 volleyball courts, food and drinks, and bathroom facilities. The McNamara family, who donated $1 million to the Cove, partook in groundbreaking and celebrating the upcoming facilities. According to the UCF Athletics, the vision for the McNamara Cove began in February of 2017. The past week was the first step of the big idea coming a reality. The Cove is exclusive to UCF athletes, but will offer 250 spots for non-athletes for $2,500 for the year.
This week, Buddy Dyer was re-elected as mayor of Orlando. Nightly News reporter Nikki Cortland explains Buddy's main priorities for this term and how you can stay up to date on voter registration and educating yourself on candidates.
On Tuesday night, Buddy Dyer was re-elected to be mayor of Orlando for the 5th time. Dyer won against candidates Samuel Ings and Aretha Simmons, receiving an overwhelming 72% of the vote. On Tuesday night, Dyer tweeted, "Thanks to our collective efforts as a community, I believe that I am the happiest mayor in America. I am humbled and and beyond measure to lead the city. Here are Buddy's main priorities for his new term, according to his campaign website. Buddy hopes to expand transportation options for Orlando and surrounding area residents. Dyer has already made Orlando friendlier for his bicyclists, adding 300 miles of urban trails. Dyer wants to work with Orange County Jerry Demings to expand Orlando's mobility choices. He also aims to tackle the issue of affordable housing here in Orlando. Recently, the city of Orlando has invested in almost $32 million into the housing industry for residents in order to make it more affordable. Buddy's website says he remains committed to working with regional partners across jurisdictional lines to continue to address our region's housing challenges. Dyer is committed to growing the city's jobs and aims to continue blossoming Central Florida's economy. He hopes to bring in more high-tech, high-wage careers and bring in industries like digital media, aviation, aerospace, and biotechnology. And finally, he hopes to make Central Florida a more sustainable region. He plans to achieve 100% renewable energy for municipal buildings by the year 2030, achieve no waste by 2040, and complete renewable energy by 2050. Right now, the city has a Bloomberg climate change grant, and he is expecting to use this money toward his green goals. And don't forget to participate in the upcoming presidential election next November. You can register to vote online at usa.gov, or you can download the National Mail voter registration form and mail that to the location listed for your state. Also, make sure you get your out-of-state ballots ahead of time and make your vote count. Lastly, keep up with any voter registration deadlines. Some states require it as much as a month before the election.
So how was the weather coming in for you today, Milan?
Well, you know, Jasmine, it was nice, but I expected it to be a little cooler. Let's see what Amber has for us looking for the rest of the day.
Yeah, Milan, I was also looking for that cooler fall weather too, and it's not here yet, but coming up later in the show, I'll talk about the 5-day forecast a little more. But for today, I did walk into the studio and it was pretty muggy and overcast. It looks like it's going to be overcast for the rest of the day with a 50% chance of rain. So if you are planning on attending EDC, I would bring a poncho or something like that, but it's currently 82 degrees, so it'll be nice and warm. The humidity around 69%, and winds are from the northwest at 13 miles an hour. Coming up, I'll tell you more about the 5-day forecast. Back to you.
Breaking today, according to a press release by Polk County Sheriff's Office, 17 men, including 2 Disney employees, are facing child porn charges in Polk County. A month-long special investigation by Polk County detectives focused on identifying community members who they say owned and shared child pornography.
The 17 men face a total of 626 charges. 624 of those charges are felonies and 2 of them are misdemeanors. Nelly News will keep you updated on this case.
Coming up, we hear about how UCF celebrates its first-generation students.
Plus, Veterans Day is coming up and we'll hear about the holiday and what it means.
Mass held its first inaugurational and first generation awareness week in support of first generation students. And the UCF Nightly News reporter Armand Sardoui tells us more about the week and the highlights of the experiences of first gen students.
Academic and Support Services kicked off its inaugural First Generation Week on the UCF main campus. It gave first generation students the opportunity to connect with faculty, staff, and resources. First generation student Natasha Serrano Ruiz says an office like Mass provides her with the resources that she needs.
As a first generation student, most of the time it means that we really don't have that much money. So my parents are not from here, they're from Puerto Rico. We don't have that much financially.
A first generation student is any student whose parents or guardians do not have a bachelor's degree. At UCF, 1 in every 4 undergraduate student identifies as first generation. Tammy Nato, assistant director for Mass, says Mass wants to help first generation students become successful.
So navigating the collegiate process was really uncharted territory for many of them. So we just want them to know that there is a community of support for them here in our division, and that they have all the resources to be successful Knights here.
This week highlights one of the ways Mass supports first-generation students. UCF student volunteer Dayton Fenwick says that UCF is an environment where first-generation students feel welcome.
They will be able to come into the university, know that there's a community of like-minded people who know that they have a struggle, but that struggle will be able to be overcome.
The Awareness Week is part of the First Generation program that provides students with a meaningful experience. Reporting in Orlando, Armand Sardoui, UCF Nightly News.
For more information, Mass is located in room 154 at the Student Union. Nightly News reporter Armand Sardoui is here at the desk to discuss what he learned from the multicultural academic and support services. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so Mass had a whole week dedicated to first generation students because first generation students don't have parents to tell them about the college experience. They had a giveaway and advising, and they had t-shirts as well as his first generation student t-shirts, first generation and proud. I had a chance to sit down and talk with some first generation students and see what I had to say. Let's take a look.
All right, Corey, so can you tell me about your experience?
Well, my experience over at UCF has been a long and very journeyous one. Coming from a background of where my mom didn't get a chance to complete college because she was conceiving me at the time, it was like a more or less she was proud of it. And she wanted me to push her dreams on and carry her legacy on towards it. So if anything, it felt like there was a lot of weight and pressure onto me. Coming to UCF, I had my doubts, but overall I feel like I made the good choice. The environment that I'm in, the people that I've met, the connections I've met, there's something I really can't change from that, honestly. I'm happy that I came here.
And you mentioned your mom, got pregnant with you, chance to go to college. Can you tell me how she motivates you?
If anything, my mom always strived for greatness. So even when she was young, she was do her best to still in school. She had me when she was in high school. And me having her and being a single black woman, it was a lot of hard to strain at the time. So she was working 3 jobs and she really couldn't focus as much into college. She later went back though at the end, but I kind of beat her to it.
Like, it's just branding. Like, the fact that the shirt says you're proud, like, it gives you more confidence as well. Like, you know, it's just like when students wear like a Knights shirt, or like you have like a Knights shirt. It's like representing what you are, where you come from. Just gives you that extra confidence. They've helped me a lot with different types of programs, like Sister to Sister. They've helped me be able to get a study abroad opportunity to China for 2 weeks. They've helped me even with the smallest thing, like just putting my name on a list for me not to pay for a decal, like a parking decal for a semester. So it's like little things that they help students with, like as long as they're working hard, they see that, and so they try to give you that extra boost. Like, even though nobody else notices, they'll still, you know, do little things, and you notice, and it's like really appreciated.
Mass, like with open arms, and you know, it feels like you said, it feels like a family. Explain more about that.
Yeah, so as a first gen student, it's nice to know that even though, you know, my mom couldn't help me fill out that FAFSA or whatever the case is because she doesn't understand it or she never did it, you could still go, you know, to anybody in the office and be like, hey, can we sit down and do this because I don't know how to do it, and they'll still help you. Like, they'll still, if they're connected with somebody in financial aid that can maybe help you a little bit. I also myself worked in financial aid, so I think that was a good resource too, that the fact that we have like work study, that you can work in different offices like to get experience.
Thanks so much, Arma. Now coming up, find out what kind of weather to expect this weekend.
Plus, learn how President Trump's Veterans Day proclamation affects veterans and their families. UCF students are gearing up for a long weekend. All UCF campuses will close Monday in observance of Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a holiday celebrated to salute and thank veterans from all branches of the military for their service. Veterans Day is commemorated November 11th each year to mark the end of World War I in 1918. This year is the 100th celebration of Veterans Day in the United States. All UCF campuses will reopen Tuesday, November 12th. Donald Trump has issued a proclamation to make November all about veterans and their families. President Trump's proclamation made the entire month of November National Veterans and Military Families Month. The proclamation said, quote, "During this month, we honor and express our deep appreciation for those brave men and women and their families." Army veteran Cameron Moley says the proclamation is a great way to appreciate veterans and their families who do not get enough credit.
Our country's, veterans are really neglected as it is, and then you sit there and you add our families who really don't get a lot of resources, and even when it comes to like survivor benefits, they don't get a lot. So to have a day to appreciate them, or a whole month in this case to appreciate them, it's nice.
This says each warrior who fights for our nation along with their families has earned our eternal gratitude.
Everyone's favorite winter carnival is coming back to UCF. Light Up UCF construction began the week outside edition of Financial Arena. The carnival is running its 12th season later this month and is expected to debut a new carousel. Construction on Light Up UCF could cause delays for students with events around Edition Financial Arena. Light Up UCF opens to the public November 22nd through January 5th, 2020. For more information, visit lightupucf.com.
You know, Jasmine, I hear there's a cold front coming this weekend.
Yeah, I hope it's about time. I'm ready for some fall weather.
Me too.
Amber, can we expect to start to see some cooler weather?
Yes, we can. That weather is coming soon, but not yet. As we said today, it's a little muggy and cloudy still, but Tallahassee and Jacksonville, they're already starting to see that colder weather. It's 65 in Tallahassee, 66 in Jacksonville, and 79 in Tampa. In Orlando, it's still a warm 80 and warm 85 in Miami. Now for our lows, we have a low of 45 in Tallahassee and a low of 53 in Jacksonville, 64 in Tampa, 62 here in Orlando, and down in Miami, a cool 75. And now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Now tomorrow, Saturday, there's going to be a 50% chance of rain, and it's going to be 76 degrees, a cloudy day. So if you're going to EDC, you might want to bring a poncho or something. And then on Sunday, we're looking to see no rain, so it might be a nicer day with a high of 79 and a low of 63. It'll be warmer and sunnier out. And then Monday, it's going to be a nice day on Veterans Day. Take the day off, go to the pool. It's going to be a high of 82 and a low of 64 and a 0% chance of rain. And then on Tuesday, we're going to see a high of 80 degrees and a low of 54 degrees with a 30% chance of rain. And on Wednesday, a high of 66 with a low of 56. Back to you, Milan and Jasmine.
So coming up, the women's basketball team is on the road for the first time this season.
Find out how the men's soccer team became regular season champs.
Hey Knights fans, I'm Sarah Nagy, and this is your UCF Nightly News Sports Update. After losing to Cincinnati a few weeks ago, the Knights have rolled over their last 3 opponents. With an away game tonight at Tulsa, the Knights will look to continue their dominance. Nightly News reporter Eddie Messel tells us more on what UCF will have to do to continue to stay hot.
The Tulsa Golden Hurricanes are not to be overlooked this week despite their 2-7 record. UCF is heavily favored in this matchup, but that was also the case in their 2 losses on the year to Cincy and to Pitt. Wide receiver Trey Nixon has stood out for the Knights as of recent and is looking to mimic his near-perfect performances in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what we pride ourselves on, scoring fast. We know that if we go fast-paced, we're going to eventually catch the defense slipping, and, that's when we're at our best, when we go fast.
The Knights' defense will also be a crucial key to this game. The past few weeks, UCF's defense has come out sluggish to start the game. It isn't until after halftime that they start to look like a top-notch defense. Tulsa has proved that they can keep themselves in games this season. Number 19 ranked Memphis was only able to beat them by 1. They took number 23 ranked SMU to OT, as well as keeping it tight with 20th ranked Cincy. Knights linebacker Nate Evans says they know that they could be the top defense that keeps them in games.
We preach to each other, we can be the best defense in the nation, hands down. And I believe that strongly, and my brothers also believe that strongly.
UCF will also be relying on true freshman Dylan Gabriel, who finally looks to be settling into the starting quarterback role, and he says he's ready for Tulsa.
Every week has kind of its own week or approach to it. Felt like everyone was focused and got some things to work on, but get in the film room, obviously, watch it, and we got Tulsa. So.
While the Knights still need many things to go their way to find themselves playing for the American Conference Championship for the 3rd year in a row, they cannot overlook their task this week. That is to go 1-0 against a scrappy Tulsa team in Oklahoma. Reporting in Orlando, Eddie Messel, UCF Nightly News.
UCF versus Tulsa will kick off at 7 p.m. in Oklahoma, where the Knights will look to extend their win streak to 4. The UCF men's soccer team are no longer sharing their regular season title. The Knights clinched sole possession of the regular season title on Tuesday when they defeated the Cincinnati Bearcats 3-2 in overtime. With that win, they finished the regular season on a 15-game unbeaten streak. The Knights will now turn their attention to the American Conference Tournament. They will play their semifinal round at home on Wednesday, November 13th. They will play the winner of the Temple and Memphis game. The game is set for 7 p.m. And that's all the time we have for sports. Now back to Jasmine and Milan at the desk.
That's our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week by following us on Instagram at UCF Nightly News.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynewsucf@gmail.com. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.